Be careful before you move an annuity. Welcome back to the Retire with Peace podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dave Zaegel.
Welcome to the Retire with Peace podcast, the podcast where we help you create a fulfilling and stress-free retirement. Each week, we bring you expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you plan and live your best retirement life. Whether you're nearing retirement or already enjoying your golden years, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Let's embark on this journey together and discover how to retire with peace.
We've received a couple of questions lately on what to do with an annuity. And they're coming from a place of, I'm not really sure that I need the annuity anymore based on the assets I have, the plan we have, the structure that's in place. We're not sure we need the annuity, and what do we do with it if we're not looking to keep it? A couple of things on that before we talk about how to move it or what to do. First of all, annuities have their place. They have benefits. They get a lot of bad press. And admittedly, I don't use annuities nearly as frequently as they tend to be used in the industry. But they can have their place. But a lot of times we do run into this issue of, I have this annuity. I don't feel like I need it. It doesn't really fit into the plan. I'm not really sure what it's going to do for us. Yes, there's benefits, but do we really need that versus the structure that we already have? So annuities can be good, but we have to also remember that they have surrender charges. Now, those fade away over time, but surrender charge essentially says if you close this contract before a certain time, you're going to have to pay an extra fee. Typically, that fee tails off over time and then ends completely. And every contract is different, so there's no one size fits all on this. But generally, there is some sort of surrender charge fee that you have to pay out of that annuity if you do decide to move it either to a different contract or out of the annuity vehicle completely. Now, when I say that, a lot of people initially go, those darn annuities, they have surrender charges. That's just crazy. Why do they have those things? And let's back up and understand that when you are getting the annuity, the insurance company has to put together all the structures around it to have the annuity function properly. Therefore, they need to know that the money's going to stay there, at least for a decent period of time. They don't want somebody coming in and 6 months or a year or even 2 or 3 years later, pulling it back out. Causes a lot of issues with the actual annuity structure itself because an insurance company is there putting the product together, providing the guarantees. So the surrender charges, they're not evil. They're just trying to get reimbursed for what they've already set up if you decide to leave before that surrender period is over. So just trying to do a little bit of a defense of annuities and insurance companies here. Not saying that they're all perfect and beautiful, but there is a good reason for these structures that are put in place. They really need to know that the money is going to stay there for a reasonable amount of time so that they can execute on the annuity structure that they put in place. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what to do if you have an annuity and want to move it. Because there's two different scenarios here. One is when it's not in an IRA, and one is when it is in an IRA. When it's not in an IRA, there's some extra considerations because you're going to have, assuming the annuity has done fine, you're going to have some sort of gain inside that annuity itself. You can do an exchange from one, it's called non-qualified, meaning it's not an IRA. You can do an exchange from a non-qualified annuity to another non-qualified annuity, just a direct exchange to where there will be no tax impact. You could also just take the annuity and surrender it, cancel it, and take the money out. You're going to have some sort of gain on that, a taxable gain, if you're just taking it out of the annuity and putting it into some other fund, whether it just be in your bank account or stocks or wherever. You're going to have a gain on that, assuming that the annuity has done well over time. Now, the nice thing is when we move to the second scenario, when you're in an IRA account, there is no gain on making these changes, because nothing happens from a tax perspective in an IRA until you take the money out of the IRA. Therefore, if you have an annuity that is sitting inside an IRA, you can move that to another traditional or rollover IRA without having a tax impact, because it's just an exchange from IRA to IRA. Therefore, in that scenario, the things that you need to consider are, what are the benefits of the annuity? Are those worth keeping, or do we not need those because of our other planning items and planning structure? And secondly, what are the surrender charges? Is there going to be a cost from a surrender charge perspective, simply from moving it out of that annuity structure into a non-annuity structure? So those are the considerations. You can go from IRA to IRA without having to worry about taxes, because you're just moving it in what's considered the qualified world. It's the fancy term. Qualified is in an IRA, non-qualified is not in an IRA. It's the simple way to think about it. You can move in a qualified world all you want, as long as it's going directly from one thing to the other. Therefore, if it's in an IRA, it makes that piece much simpler. You just need to evaluate, are there benefits that we don't want to lose? And are there any surrender charges that we really don't want to pay? And balancing all that out, that's really the questions to be answered prior to making any moves from an IRA to an IRA, out of an annuity and into just a traditional or rollover IRA.